Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report, episode 278. Turncoats are everywhere. All right, thank you all very much for tuning in today. Been a long day. Just bear with me, but I've been distracted all morning long. But let's have some fun here. So turncoats everywhere. We'll get to that. Plus, I got something at the very beginning I'm going to talk about. It just crossed the news wires just a few minutes ago, and it deals with Texas. All right. So welcome to the JP8 Report. Don't forget to click that follow button. If you just wandered upon the JP8 Report, please click the follow. Follow us. We're sitting at 100 followers right now. Let's build our numbers up, please. Okay. We simulcast straight from Rumble to YouTube, X, and Facebook, but I like my Rumble. All right. Click that like button also, or that thumbs up on Facebook, on Rumble, and click the likes everywhere else. And then if you get a chance to share, all right. And I really appreciate this. So it's Friday, December 12th. So to get this party started is America 250. So we're looking at December 12th, 1775 and December 13th, 1775. I got just a few things that happened on the 12th and then one thing that happened on the 13th. Because remember, I don't do my podcasts on the weekend. Let's see. December 12, 1775, a spy mission was ordered by the Second Continental Congress for Arthur Lee in London. Now, I tell you, I don't know about Arthur Lee, but I will, okay? But this is the cool thing about me doing this, because I may have a degree in history, in American history. I don't know it all. There's just too much, right? But doing this encourages you to go out and learn more about what's being said about, okay? And I've learned so much in the last few months doing this. I love doing it. So Arthur Lee was ordered by the Second Continental Congress to do a spy mission in London, England. Also, North Carolina and Virginia sent reinforcements to Norfolk after the Battle of Great Bridge, which we discussed about on the 9th of the 9th of December. And then on the 13th of December, the Second Continental Congress authorized the construction of 13 new frigates, which are ships. All right. And then the 4th Virginia Convention authorized 7 regiments of infantry to be formed. So as you can tell, we're building boats, we're enlisting soldiers, and you can say, "Wow, that's seven regiments. That's a lot of soldiers." The average regiment is probably a company-ish, so like 250. So you're looking at about 2,000 men. But at the same time, you have enlistments for other soldiers that were expiring, and some of them were walking off the job, like Connecticut people. But so it's all ebbing and flowing and stuff. Do you realize the standing army at the time of Yorktown in 1781 was only 8,000 soldiers? You figured, you watch stuff like that, The Patriot, the movie The Patriot. It was thousands and thousands of soldiers and stuff. It wasn't really like that. Sometimes it ebbs and flows, like I was saying, but at the time of the surrender at Yorktown, it was 8,000. All right, but okay. So the good news is 13 ships are going to be built and 7 regiments were recruited. All right. So let's go to the next one. If I can get there we go. Stop. All right. So the guys I always talk about, the Dalmatian Texas Burger Group, their homemade smash burgers and dogs in Copper's Cove. All ingredients are homemade, including their buns, and they're open 11 to 2 and 5:30 to 7 unless they sell out, Tuesday through Saturday, and they're located on the western side of Copper's Cove, behind bushes on the west end of Copper's Cove. And then I recommend the armadillo burgers up here in the upper left. All right, so that's the Dalmatian. Now, just if you don't know, all right, Copper's Cove is in central Texas, just to the west of Belton and Killeen. Okay, so if you're in the area and you want to try a really good burger, there's no sit down; it's all to go. All right, check them out. Give them a look see. Okay. So the one thing, okay, onward to the JP8 report. Thank you for letting me do that advertisement for them. All right, so we're talking about something that just came across. I took a late shower, I was getting dressed, went over to check the news, and there it was. I'm like, wow, this is cool. All right, so must-see TV. That's the headline on it. Wesley Hunt, here in Texas, Congressman Hunt, is challenging Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett to a debate publicly on TV. So, his Texas Senate candidate, Congressman Wesley Hunt, is challenging House Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett to a debate after Crockett entered the race earlier this week. Hunt, who faces incumbent John Cornyn and Attorney General Ken Paxton in a competitive Republican primary, was quick to challenge Crockett to a debate, saying that if the new contender agreed, it would be must-see TV. Jasmine Crockett and I see two different Americas. She defines this country as by victimhood. I define it by hard work, grit, and determination, Hunt told Fox News Digital. Sources close to the campaign told Fox News Digital that Crockett approached Hunt on Capitol Hill to discuss a potential debate. Hunt's campaign confirmed to Fox News that this is the first conversation the two have ever had. A Hunt versus Crockett debate is must-see TV, and I welcome it. Okay, I guess the cats didn't like that. I think they're Democrat cats or demon cats. Should Crockett or Hunt be elected to the Senate seat, it would be the first time a Black American has been elected to a statewide office in the Lone Star State. The Texas Republican pointed this out, telling Fox that he cares more about being an American than he does a black man. I'm a great grandson of a slave, Hunt told Fox. Our family story is one from going from a plantation to West Point combat in the United States Congress. That's the story of American progress. I'm proud to be black, but I'm prouder to be an American and a native Texan, in which Jasmine Crockett is not. She's from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm far more focused on being a father, a husband, a veteran, a servant leader, and a citizen than my skin color. You hear the cats in the background? Yeah, they're Democrats. Sorry about that. I'll correct them later. Hunt's campaign team shared a graphic with Fox they would use to promote a debate. Crockett joining the field presents a unique situation that was traditionally been a deep red state. Her congressional district encompasses a large portion of Dallas metropolitan area, and her youthful energy, she's 44 years old, she's not exactly youthful, and a large social media presence differ from the other Democrat contenders in the past. I don't get that. Because Colin Aldred ran against Ted Cruz in the last election, and he's from the congressional district directly next to her congressional district. Crockett has 2.5 million followers on Instagram and roughly 500,000 on X. Hunt boasts a large social media presence, with his team telling Fox that they have 4.1 million followers across multiple platforms, including Instagram, X, Truth Social, and others. The pair's influencer-style approach to politics provided successful in winning their respective congressional seats, but securing victory over the Senate will be a challenge for both. Crockett's ambition to flip the traditionally red state to Democrats will be quite a unique uphill battle. Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, who chairs the National Republican Senatorial Committee, said Democrats getting behind Crockett indicate the party has been overrun by a far-left agenda. I think it has something to say about who the Democrats are nationally, not just in Texas, Scott told Fox News earlier this week. What it says that they are all about is overrunning this radical left agenda with focus on rhetoric, not reality. And then election day is March 3rd. All of us Texans know that. And the general election is November 3rd. And then Fox News reached out to Jasmine Crockett, but did not receive a response. I guess they're waiting for her to make something out on X or Blue Sky, which only her people are going to see. You know what? I would love to see that debate, because I support Wesley Hunt. I think he would be a dynamic senator for the state of Texas. And not just because he's a combat veteran, because he's a unique conservative. And he's from Texas too, right? And I understand that Ken Paxton and John Corn are from Texas also. Neither one of them are veterans, unlike him. And regardless of who the nominee is, I'm voting for him as it stands. But right now, I support Wesley Hunt, and I would love to see that debate. I would love to see him take it to her and crush her, because James Tallarico don't have a chance either. All right, I was all set. I was like, oh great, this is gonna be a boring podcast. This made it fun. All right, that made it fun. And then another breaking news thing I heard a while ago was Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy announced that 53% of CDLs issued by the state of New York are illegal, and he gave them 30 days to rectify or he pulls their federal highway funds from the state of New York. Needs to happen. Well, why is it these liberal states have so many illegal 18-wheeler drivers? That's putting here in Texas, over and over again, we find out illegal alien with CDLs. This is unbelievable. And they're coming from other states, because there are interstate compacts where if something's, for the most part, I think it is with the transportation, if you have like a license that's reciprocal in other states, not like a gun license. If a gun license, it's got to be specific and stuff. But with transportation, everything's got to be reciprocal from state to state. So if you get a CDL in Washington State, you can drive through Texas with it, as long as you're compliant and legal, right? And then they're not. All right. So, you have any comments? Live chat's open. Comments are open. Oh, by the way, as I was saying yesterday, if you can, on the comments section, my daughter Rachel is in California right now. I don't know if she's watching or not. But if you're video on demand or live and you want to leave a comment, Rachel's graduating with her master's degree. She's walking the stage on Monday. Please leave a comment and tell her congratulations. I'm sure she would love to see it. We had one yesterday. Let's get a few more in there for this today through the weekend. All right? Tell her congratulations. She's graduating from the University of Southern California. Medical, I forgot what, I knew what it's like six words, but University of Southern California. All right? Okay, so what do I got next? When will Trump get any credit from the lamestream media for any of his accomplishments? Because, every time, how many times a day do you turn the news on or listen to the radio or pick up a newspaper or a pure article? And for the most part, lamestream media, and I include Fox News with that sometimes, all right? All you see is negative about President Trump. They are all Newsmax. They're pretty positive about their coverage, but almost everybody else is blatant. And like when I do my research for my podcast every day, I go through New York Post and Fox News and Newsmax, Bongino Report, and I go through them all to develop my podcast. Man, for the most part, Bongino Report stays stable, right? But the news cycle is so fast. I've gotten to the point where if I see something come across a wire, I'll immediately share it and then email it to myself so I can look at that. Because if you go back 6 hours later and look for that same news article, it's gone. They've already cycled it out to somewhere else, right? So, but you look at stuff. Here's another Fox News article about the president talking about getting credit where credit is due, right? First, the president put this out a while ago. Stock market just hit an all-time high. When will the fake news, fake polls show that I am doing great on the economy and much more? Thank you. He's got a point. He's got a big point about this. They don't want to give the president credit on anything. They will bury it to where there's no forgiveness. That's where you can put it, right? It says here, President Donald Trump touted the U.S. economy on Thursday, asking when will he be awarded credit for creating perhaps the greatest economy ever in the nation's history. I inherited a mess from the Biden administration, the worst inflation in history, the highest prices our country has ever seen. In other words, affordability. Just 13 months ago was a disaster for the American people, but now it's totally different. Prices are coming down fast. Energy, oil, gasoline are hitting 5-year lows. And the stock market today hit an all-time high, which I just showed you. Tariffs are bringing hundreds of billions of dollars, and we're respected again. Look at it like this. When my wife and I were out yesterday, we ate lunch in Harker Heights. We went to Cracker Barrel and did some chores. We were noticing gas at like $2.18 and $2.19 a gallon. Well, when Biden was president, we never saw that. He emptied out the strategic petroleum reserve, trying to get more and more Democrats elected during the midterms in 2022. But it never got down to where it is now. The average price of gas is lower than it was in 2019. So you had all of 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, and then President Trump took office in January, and it's finally started going back down. So the president's doing something. When he said drill, baby, drill, that commodity and to an abhorrent. Okay, you look at the price of gas is good for consumers, right? That do a lot of driving. You really want to upcharge the U.S. economy even more than it is now? What you want to do is lower the price of diesel. The diesel is, I think, about around here. I think it was like $2.98 a gallon. I think, but you lower that because 18-wheelers use diesel. They don't use gasoline, and their tanks are like 250 gallons, right? So you need to work on that part, and he is. But we gotta fill the SPR. There they go again. Can't wait to finish up that studio. But they are the prices are coming down. You got to give them time, and you got to be wary of inflation. Went so high under Biden, you can't have deflation because deflation causes depression. Go in and look at your macro macroeconomics that you took in college, for the ones of us that did, and you can see what happens when an economy goes into a deflation mode. All right, businesses start closing, people start getting laid off, and worse and worse. So that's the ugly part about inflation is prices hardly ever go back down. What you do is you eliminate the causation of them going up. All right, so that's your economics class for the day. All right, let's see what else is good to read on this one. The stock market hit an all-time high, which I don't know what it was. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene was quoted in here during an interview. The president needs to be aware that he is a billionaire, president of the United States, and he can't gaslight people and tell them their bills are affordable and tell them that the economy is an A+++. You just can't do that. Yeah, okay. Hold on, where's that cat at? I hear a cat. Hold on. I got a spray bottle for him now. Okay, so so we got that taken care of. Next is yesterday. No sooner than I signed off on the JP8 report. Newsflash: Al Green's impeachment bid failed. All Republicans voted against it, along with 23 Democrats. All right. See, a lone progressive effort to impeach, and this is pretty good. So the final, that was his fifth attempt, right, to impeach President Trump this year alone. This is the first one that they that made it to the floor of the House, but the final vote was 237 to 140, 237 against, 144, and 47 Democrats refused to make a decision on whether to impeach President Trump. Right? Talking about turncoats, you know, so much for being loyal to the Democrat Party, right? But a lone progressive effort to impeach President Trump failed Thursday, with nearly 24 Democrats joining the GOP to squash it. Al Green moved to get a vote on 2 articles of impeachment Wednesday night with a privileged resolution, a mechanism allowing lawmakers to force action on a bill within 2 legislative days. The Republicans beat him to the punch, called for the vote yesterday while I was on air, a move that effectively kills consideration of the bill itself when a privileged resolution is called for. 23 Democrats joined Republicans in pushing the impeachment aside. A significant number of Democrats also voted present, including all 3 senior leaders of the Democrat House. That would be Hakeem Jeffries, Kathleen Clark, and Pete Aguiar. Impeachment is a sacred institution. Impeachment is a sacred constitutional vehicle designed to hold a corrupt executive accountable for abuse of power, breaking the law, or violating the public trust. The effort requires a comprehensive investigative process, a collection of a review of thousands of documents, and exacting scrutiny on the facts to examine the dozens of key witnesses, congressional hearings, sustained public organizing, and marshaling the forces of democracy to build a broad national conscience, the trio said in a statement. So, what they did twice to President Trump in his first term doesn't even reflect in what they said. They are playing legalese with the American public. It should, I mean, that's one thing I do agree with Al Green. When you do an impeachment, it should be quick and to the point and get it done. They're talking about political execution. You know, drag someone through the streets and stuff before you finally have a vote on it, to extract the political price for what they're doing. So to get along with this one, hold on just a second. I'm going to read a paragraph from, I'll put it in here. Oh, there it is. Okay. Hold on. So the resolution was House Resolution 939, right? It was December 10th, 2025. Those cats. They're in some kind of trouble. Okay. Resolution impeaching Donald John Trump. Oh, okay. Hold on just a second. I got to get this. Hold on. What do you got? What do you got? Okay. One of my dogs got some plastic little hair thing you put in someone's hair, and she was chewing it up. Okay, I'm back. Okay, resolution impeaching Donald John Trump, President of the United States, for high crimes and misdemeanors. Resolved, Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is an abuser of presidential power who, if left in office, will continue to promote the incitement of violence, engender invidious hate, undermine our democracy, and dissolve our republic, in which that he is impeached for high crimes, misdemeanors, and that if the following articles of impeachment be exhibited to the United States Senate. The articles of impeachment exhibited by the House of Representatives of the United States in the name of itself and the people of the United States of America against Donald John Trump, President of the United States of America, in maintenance and support of this impeachment against him, high crimes and misdemeanors. Wow. Is an abuser of presidential power, if left in office, will continue to promote incitement of violence. There is a reason why he has 3 challengers for the Democrat nomination in the 18th Congressional District. Hopefully he does not win the primary, and he can retire with his cane shaking it at President Trump. All right? And now, the other bad news is in Indiana. In Indiana, we have 21 Republicans that turned their back on the President of the United States. Let's put it like this, okay? redistricting. The Republicans had their chance to redistrict. There's nothing in their Constitution that says they cannot do it, right? They could have garnered 2 more House of Representatives. They already hold the majority in the house, in their state house. They hold the majority in the congressional district distribution. They have a 7-2 majority. In the state Senate, they have a 40-10 majority. 80%, 20%, right? So 21 Republicans along with 10 Democrats voted against redistricting in the state of Indiana. Just last week, the president of the Senate in Indiana said that they would go along with anything the House put forward to the Senate. Then why is it yesterday afternoon, that the Indiana Senate voted 31-19 against approving the redistricting measure that was before them? 21 Republicans turned their back on the President of the United States. They had their chance to vote 2 more Republicans from their state into the House of Representatives, and they didn't. Max Braun already said that he's going to take care of this. My suggestion is call him back in session. This is going to pass. Make him pass it. Make them. The Democrat leader in the Indiana state congratulated the Senate on standing up to what they believe in, and that redistricting should only be done once every 10 years, and they stuck it to President Trump. Every one of those Democrats, every one of those Republicans in the state Senate should garner a primary opponent and should be elected out of office. It should be. All right? So this is what the president said, and I'm going to read it. I love the state of Indiana to have won it, including primaries, 6 times, all by massive majorities. Importantly, it now has a chance to make a difference in Washington, D.C. In regard to the number of House seats we have that are necessary to hold the majority against the radical left Democrats, every other state has done redistricting willingly, openly, and easily. There's never a question in my mind that winning and contributing to a win in the midterms for the Republicans was a great thing to do for our party and for the party, for America itself. In all fairness, the Democrats have been doing redistricting for years and continue to do so. Unfortunately, Indiana State Leader Rod Bray enjoys being the only person in the United States of America who is against Republicans picking up extra seats in Indiana's America, who is against Republicans picking up extra seats. In Indiana's case, 2 of them. He is putting every ounce of his limited strength into asking his soon-to-be very vulnerable friends to vote with him. By doing so, he is putting the majority of the House of Representatives, Washington, D.C. at risk, and at the same time putting anybody in Indiana who votes against this redistricting likewise at risk. The people of Indiana don't want the party of Sleepy Joe Biden, Kamala, Ian Omar, or the rest to succeed in Washington. Bray doesn't care. He's either a bad guy or a very stupid one. In any event, he and a couple of his friends will partner with radical left Democrats they found some Republican suckers. I'll say it again. They found some Republican suckers, and they could not be happier that they did. Guys like failed Senate candidate Mitch Daniels, who opposed in his race against Senator Jim Banks, and Cam Savage, whoever that is, are fighting against the Republican Party all the way. Bray and his friends are the favorite Republicans of Hakeem Jeffries, Crazy Nancy Pelosi, and crying Chuck Schumer. Anybody that votes against redistricting and the success of the Republican Party in D.C. will be, I am sure, met with a MAGA primary in the spring. If Republicans will not do that, do what is necessary to save our country, they will eventually lose everything to the Democrats. Rod Bray and his friends won't be in politics for long, and I will do everything in my power to make sure that they will not hurt the Republican Party or our country again. One of my favorite states, Indiana, will be the only state in the Union to turn the Republican Party down. That's how bad the President of the United States is. All right? All they had to do was vote 26 to 24. That's all they had to do. Because there's 50 seats in the Indiana Senate. All right? That's part of the turncoats are everywhere. And then if you look, and the next thing I'm going to talk about is 20 Republicans voted with Democrats to overturn one of his executive orders to stick it to federal labor unions. Why? You know what labor unions do? They suck your tax dollars out. That's all they do. If you agree with me or don't, leave me a chat. Go for it. I dare you. You tell me. You got the average worker here in around this area makes about $15 to $20 an hour. Then you go on post and they make $25, $30 an hour, something like that. They make good money, and that's because they have unions that support them and make sure they. Why do we have a $901 billion defense budget? Well, you think missiles are free? Well, how did that missile get to be $2.5 million when it could have been like $1.3 million? Well, you got to buy the thing, and you have to have people make it, and it comes at a premium because they negotiate union contracts to be able to get those those weapons made. We all know that. I know that. You know that. Everyone knows that, and we keep doing it. We keep doing it and increasing our federal deficit, our federal debt, higher and higher and higher because we won't do nothing to cut the cost of government. There should be nothing saying the cost of government has to go up every single year. Okay? And these unions do it. And I'll get to that in just a second, okay? I know I've been on the air for 39 minutes. I'm like Chad Prather, and we're about to get the remnant, okay? Who's left after, because he does really good before the noise every morning. Okay, so, but these guys need to be primaried. Trump repeatedly blasted he called Roderick Bray a rhino. Did he put it in here? Must be a separate one, because I do not see that in here. He called him a rhino. Okay, so Trump repeatedly blasted Bray, warning in a recent social media post. A rhino state senator, Roderick Bray, who does not care about keeping the majority in the House in D.C., is the primary problem. Soon he will have a primary problem, and he and any other politician that supports him in his stupidity. Changing course, Bray announced last week. See, this is what I'm getting at. Two-faced. right? Uh, Changing course. Bray announced last week that the state would reconvene to vote on redistricting. Added the issue of redrawing Indiana's congressional maps mid-cycle has received a lot of attention and strife here in our state. Man, even the speaker went up there. They thought they had it. I do not know what happened that they ended this argument, but they did. Okay, let's get on to other stuff because it infuriates me. Let me advance my slide. Maybe. All right, there we go. All right, on the deal about the federal labor unions. 20 House Republicans joined Democrats to pass a bill reversing President Trump's executive order blocking most federal unions on Thursday, which was yesterday. The bill, called Protect America's Workforce Act, is aiming at repealing a March 2025 executive order by Trump. The final vote passed 231 to 195, with all the no votes coming from the Republicans except for the 20 that voted with Democrats. Trump's order blocked collective bargaining with unions at an array of federal agencies. During the debate on the bill, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer said undoing Trump's executive order was akin to encouraging more work-from-home policies for federal employees, and he said Americans voted against that when they elected Trump and Republicans in Washington. It is important to remember that public sector unions are fundamentally different than their private sector counterparts. In fact, none other than Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a major champion of private sector unions, believed that public sector unions made no sense. In the private sector, unions represent workers and sit across from a bargaining table from representatives of businesses owners. However, federal unions are not negotiating with profit-seeking corporations. They are negotiating with the public elected representatives. Spray bottle works. Okay. Brandon Gill from Texas. Union bosses love this bill for one reason, and that is because it protects their telework perks, it shields them from accountability, and gives them effective veto power over a duly elected president and a mandate to clean up a bloated federal bureaucracy, which costs us billions of dollars every day. So, like I was saying earlier, it is 20 Republicans, and did they say who the cat? I guess it works sometimes. The main ones that voted was Brian Fitzpatrick, Don Bacon, Brezhnev, Lawler, and Nick Lotada. Is there any more? But I'll put it like this, okay? It won't make it through the Senate. Mark my word. This bill will not make it through. This is one of those discharge petitions that was filed, right? That Marjorie Taylor Greene said she's signing every single one of them because she could do that, which she can, right? She's trying to still stick it to the president. But just so you know, you saw what the score was, right? What was the score? 20. It was, you need 270 votes to override a veto, right? There's no way that this bill is going to become veto-proof. So they can pass it in the House, and they can pass it in the Senate. President Trump will just veto that bill. It'll never see the light of day. So let them go out and do the other stuff, right? So my next deal is, you know who this is? It's Congresswoman Omar. You know who she's with, right? That is Tashila Dickinson. So you're like, so what, right? Well, Miss Dickinson lives in Oklahoma City. She is the leader of the Black Lives Matter OKC. She just got charged with embezzling $3.15 million in a money laundering scheme. Right? Your donations, all y'all that I'm going to give to BLM, that lady right there on the right stole $3 million from y'all. And her best friend's right next to her. I'm not saying she's complicit in it, but she's hanging out with her. Birds of a feather, right? Birds of a feather. The executive director of Black Lives Matter, Oklahoma City, has been charged with wire fraud and money laundering after federal prosecutors say she diverted more than $3.15 million in returned bail checks into her personal bank account over a 5-year period, according to an indictment unsealed Tuesday. Tashila Sherry Amore Dickinson, 52, of Oklahoma City. I would say stuff about Oklahoma City, but my wife would get mad at me right now. Is accused of routing money intended for the group's bail fund and social justice programs into accounts she controlled between 2020 and 2025. And the indictment says Dickinson used the money for a personal benefit, including travel to Jamaica and the Dominican Republic, tens of thousands of dollars in retail shopping, and more than $50,000 in food deliveries, a vehicle, and 6 real properties. According to the Department of Justice press release covering the indictment, BLM OKC raised more than $5.6 million beginning in 2020, including major grants from the Community Justice Exchange and Massachusetts Bail Fund. Oh my goodness. You know, I see how that happened. So she got all this money. They got all this money. They paid the bail on all these people that were arrested in Oklahoma, right? When the people went to trial, they didn't skip their bail, right? So the bail went back to the group that paid their bail off. Well, she acted like the money never came back and she spent it. I tell you, man. And people are like, well, I don't want to give money. Yeah, okay. Yesterday I was telling about AOC and her $50,000 of this and that of campaign funds. When politicians go out to try to raise money for their races, people say, well, why do I want to do that? Because you're just going to waste it or misappropriate it like this lady did, right? So let me see what my next picture is. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is Minnesota's Somali fraud exposes the hidden costs of immigration. Man, I am running out of time, and I still got a whole. I may have to cover this stuff on Monday. Do I want to talk about? Does anyone want me to talk about Somalia right now? You know what? Let me put this to the side just in case, right? We'll talk about some good news. 97 nominees are about to be voted in, I think, today for President Trump. That'll make 315 nominees that have been approved since he took office in January, which is a good thing. They changed some of the rules in September, and they're pushing the level 1 and level 2 nominees. People say, well, President Trump isn't as effective. Well, the Senate won't advise and consent on his nominees. They were holding them back. They're finally getting it through. Now, the next problem the president's going to have is judicial appointments. He's still got people waiting on it. U.S. attorneys, he keeps working through interim U.S. attorneys because they can't stay on the job more than, I believe, 120 days. So he replaces one with another one because these blue slip things. So he wrote another post about blue slips last night or yesterday. Blue slips are making it impossible to get great Republican judges and U.S. attorneys approved to serve in any state where there's a single Democrat senator. If they say no, then it's over. For a very well qualified Republican candidate, only a real far left Democrat can be approved. It is shocking that Republicans under Senator Chuck Grassley, allow this scam to continue, so unfair to Republicans and not constitutional. I'm hereby asking Senate Majority Leader John Thune, a fantastic guy, to get something done. Ideally, terminate the blue slips. Too many great Republicans are being sent packing. None are getting approved. President Donald J. Trump. He's right. He is completely right. Why won't John Thune just eliminate the use of the blue slips? Like the president just said, and I keep saying this, I'm going to say this about 3 times a week, right? Why won't John Thune eliminate the blue slip? Because the Democrats are using it left and right. And it's the president's prerogative who he appoints to office. So if they don't like it, just vote no, right? You don't have veto power. These U.S. senators do not possess veto power on a nominee. They have a vote. They don't have a veto. They have a vote. They can vote aye or nay. Ayes have it, he's in. I mean, tell me what. So let's scan through this real quick. I already told you what I was thinking on it. So Senate Republicans rammed through the first procedural hurdle on the road to confirming nearly 100 President Trump's nominees on Wednesday. The move tees up a later vote on 97 Trump's picks that marks the third time Senate Republicans advance a block of the president's nominees since changing the confirmation rules in September. The final vote to confirm the latest tranche of picks is expected next week. Once Republicans clear this package, they will have confirmed over 400 of Trump's picks, including the first year of his second term. The benchmark would place him well ahead of President Biden, who at the same point in his presidency had 350 of his nominees confirmed. Among the list of nominees is Anthony Esposito, former congressman, to serve as Inspector General of the Department of Labor, and 2 picks for the NLRB, James Murphy and Scott Meyer, among several others across the country of every federal agency. The inclusion of Murphy and Meyer in the package comes after Trump fired National Labor Relations Board Gwen Wilcox, a move that was ultimately found to be legal by the Supreme Court. It's also Senate Republicans' second attempt to move the package after Senator Michael Bennet, Colorado, objected last week in a bid. The Democrats still doing it to derail the process. Senate Republicans went nuclear and changed the rules surrounding the confirmation process in a bid to break through the Senate Democrats' months-long blockade of Trump nominees and limited the scope of the only sub-cabinet level positions could be advanced through a simple 50 vote majority. And one of the nominees in the original package, Sarah Carter, a former Fox News contributor whose name is really Sarah Bailey, was considered level 1 nominee, meaning she would hold a cabinet level position. Trump tapped Carter in March to be his drug czar. That's a good position. As the director of the Office of National Drug Control Policy. Carter's inclusion in the package meant that if Republicans want to confirm the other 87 nominees and her, they would have to break a 60-vote filibuster threshold. The outcome is highly unlikely given Senate Democrats' nearly universal disapproval of several Trump picks and accusations that many are not qualified. Man. See, get rid of the blue slip. We are wholly, I don't understand what these politicians are doing. Maybe they like playing I'm a fighter and like to be in the minority, because that's exactly how they're going right now. This is stupid. Just vote them in. Just vote them in. And it not only happens there, it also happens here in Texas, right? We have, according to the Texas scorecard, right? We have a guy named Kyle Morris decided he wants to run for office. And this is an article by Brandon Whalen from the Texas scorecard. Kyle Morris is primary challenging State Representative David Lowe in the March primary, right, for House District 91. Previously posted a series of social media messages sharply critical of President Trump and other Republican officials while being supportive of Barack and Michelle Obama. It said Texas Scorecard reviewed the post on Morris's X account, which started in 2015. Beginning in 2019, the post took on a pointed edge, covering some of the most contentious political moments of Trump presidency. They include Morris' take on impeachment proceedings, COVID-19, and the 2020 election. In late 2019, the House advanced impeachment articles against Trump. Morris repeatedly challenged statements made by Trump and the White House. When Trump questioned the credibility of the whistleblower complaint, Morris wrote that the delusion is real and there is real evidence supporting the investigation. Okay, so I'm not going to give him any more credit for anything. This is why we have a fight in the state of Texas to close our primaries. This guy is definitely not a Republican. He is a Democrat, or worse. Why is someone like this that supports Barack and Obama, which I know some other people claim to be Republicans, they say the same thing. They adore Obama. Obama's trash. He destroyed our country, and when he entered into his third term, Joe Biden, President Autopin, the same thing even escalated. Right? This guy should not even be on a primary ballot in the state of Texas. So, if you're in House District 91, everyone should be behind David Lowe. Matter of fact, hold on just a second. I still got my stuff. Oh, I didn't put the House districts. Oh, man. Okay. Sorry about that. So vote for David Lowe. Don't vote for Kyle Morris, all right? Close the primaries. Close them. Close them now. All right. Do I have anything else? I'm just going to do a couple announcements. I could probably try to tag on this on Monday. All right. So, um, okay, I did read that one. Okay, so tomorrow evening in Killeen, there's Phantom at the Phantom Brewery. The West Side Conservative Coalition is having a social it's at 6 p.m. at the Phantom Brewery Company. Tomorrow at 12 noon, we have a ballot draw for the Republican primary, and it's going to be in Gatesville at the feed mill, followed by the county executive committee for our Republican Party of Coryell County. It's going to be at 12 o'clock tomorrow also, right? All is well to come and check it out, all right? And then we'll be talking about the Lincoln Reagan dinner that we're going to be doing on the 21st of February also. If you want to catch me on my socials, I'm James Pierce Jr., Facebook James A. Pierce Jr., YouTube JP8 Report 67, and True Social, and there's my email. I forgot to mention a few minutes ago, but if you're watching, don't forget to click that follow button. Don't forget to hit that like button. Please share if you can. Leave a comment in the hard comment section for Rachel, telling her congratulations on crossing the graduation stage on Monday with her master's degree. And it's going to be, I think, in genetics. All right, give her a shout out, please, in the comment section. All right. No podcast tomorrow or Sunday. Hope everybody has a good. I'm losing my voice. Oh my goodness, man. All right. Any other questions? We're over an hour already today. Any other? Angel families rally behind Trump border policies. Yep. Did you see yesterday that Secretary Noem, she got a big hug from an angel mom, and a bunch of ICE protesters started shouting them down yesterday when she was doing that. That's so disrespectful. And I ain't gonna talk about the lady with the initials C and O, because she's trash too. But that was really cool about the. I would love to see Wesley Hunt debate Jasmine Crockett in a formal debate. That would be really good. Put that on TV. Put it on Sean Hannity. Man, that might make good. That might be really good. I don't know. Does anyone have any ideas on that? That would be pretty good. Would y'all like to see something in that, man? But all right, I will see everybody Monday. Alrighty, so hey, this is James Pierce with the JP8 Report. Have a great weekend. I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm out.